think someone, let me see, someone else is here, I think. Nope, it's just you and I. Thought I heard a chime. Okay. All right, we are live now, so let's see. They'll be coming in the chat. Second, I just want to put the description in here. Okay. Good. All right. Go back to the chat. Just have to change one thing. Oops. Okay. Save that. Go there. All right, let me try and get the chat up. This is not saving. Hopefully that's up. Let me just pull open a new window and make sure that there. Hey, Jimmy, do you see if we're live yet? Can you check that? Something is, let me just see here. I just wanted to see if you saw that we were live yet, because something is going weird with the internet here. Wait a minute, it should say, oh yeah, here we are, okay. Okay. So let me get the chat to come up and say hello to who's here. Just moving. Oh, here we go. Okay. Hey, JJ. Hi, Sassy. Hi, Tina. Chrissy, April. Good. Lonnie, my full heart and hands. Move to. Whisper to me. Tina, see me. Brenda. So we're here with Rosemarie D'Alessandro, and you guys probably remember her from the last interview we did about her daughter, Joan D'Alessandro, who was murdered in 1973 by a neighbor that was a school teacher. And we talked about that, but we're here today to talk about child abuse awareness, because April is Child Abuse Awareness Month. And we're going to have a conversation here, and feel free to type in the chat anything, and we'll just take it from there. So Rosemarie, why don't you tell us what your foundation works with at-risk children and underprivileged children, the Joan Free Foundation?
Just like during this month, this month of awareness and prevention,
it is
to stop abuse in children, what we're doing is that we have a foundation called the Joan Angela D'Alessandro Foundation, and it's also known, like, it's just simple, the way we just say, we call it Joan's Joy.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're doing, like this month, is having a, the GoFundMe fundraiser. We just started it today.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be, our goal is to get more of the telehealth computers for the Holly Center in Hackensack, New Jersey. And they're part of YCS, and YCS is all over New Jersey. And these children have been abused. They have behavioral problems. They have disabilities. They have been neglected. So they know tremendous challenges. So with the telehealth, we got some of them, we got so far 2 for them. So we want to get more, because they needed about 10. And that could help them with not only the physical doctors, with doctors that, help them, like psychologists and therapists. So that's one of the things we do, and it's one of our missions, because see what happened to Joan. See, Joan was abused. She was sexually abused. She was 7 years old. and she was delivering cookies to my neighbor 3 houses away. And she only had 2 more boxes to deliver. And she had only, there were like 12 boxes altogether that she had to deliver. The other 10 she delivered with her sister.
Mhm.
And then her sister had gone to softball, and her sister was a year older. So Joan was by herself on the lawn, and she saw the car, and she just said, oh, she saw the car, and she just took the box of cookies in the Girl Scout case, ran, said, I'm going, okay, goodbye, so fast, bye, Joan, bye, Mommy, I'll be right back. And here it was, she was alone, being abused and killed. And innocent, because see, children, even today, 7 years old, 6 years old, even though there's more education in the schools, there's more that's said about it, there's more that they're just aware of, but they're innocent. They're so innocent. And that's where we come in and where we have to help them. So what you do is we have to do things that make us uncomfortable. But just take this. Every person in this whole world, if they did one thing, just one time for a child, how many children wouldn't be abused? And that means you stand up for them, you go stop it, even sometimes you might get a punch. You go to the police. That's really what you do first. You let the police know. You have the 911 number. You do that. And then what else you can do is just be attentive, be wary of certain people, just because there are certain things that just make you feel uncomfortable. So you maybe you see the child, you're kind to the child, and remember, most of the time it's happening in families, or it's very close. It's a neighbor of certain people, just because there are certain things. What's going on? So I'm just telling you that, it's like we think we can't do anything. But you know what you could do? You know what you do? You get involved. And it doesn't always have to be in a dramatic way. And then it's also like, see, now we're starting a program in the schools having to do with relaxation, and also like stress management, and also teaching children about values of kindness. And it's just starting.
Right.
And it's called Joan's Joy, Mindful Relaxation, and also Kindness Program. So that's another way to help children have more confidence in themselves, because they're learning techniques of how to help themselves, even during times it's so stressful for them and there might be no one there. So they're going to learn breathing techniques. They're going to learn how to stand up for themselves. That's so important too, to prevent. Because a lot of times these people will go after the most vulnerable kid in the family. Or they will go after the child that's always so cheerful.
Right.
And just makes everything very easy. Some children are like that. And so I'm just going to tell you, and Joan was like that. Joan Joan's cheerful, real outgoing, very good with people. And but she had one thing. She was a fighter. So that, but against like an adult,
Yeah.
and like alone, you can't do much. Even though she did fight. So that's what we have to put into the spirit of the children. You have to give them that kind of sense of self-worth, the way we speak to them, what we say to them, and that could help them to help themselves. And they won't be as vulnerable because someone might start to do something and they'll say, stop it. They'll just say that.
Yeah, and that's a problem because a lot of kids,
Yeah.
they're taught in a way that they don't want to say that, right? Because that's like not, oh my gosh, I don't want to. And they've got to understand that no, it's okay. You do that, and you do fight, and you run away, and you scream, and they have to know all of that stuff. But the problem is now that I see, just because of this pandemic that we're in, a lot of the kids who are in abusive situations in their own home, school was somewhere a safe place for them. It's a place where they got their meals and where they had maybe another mentor or a teacher that really cared about and loved them. And they're not able to be there now. So they are in that abusive situation 24/7 now because of the way we're living, right? And I was scared when it started, and I said we're going to see a bunch of stuff, and we've seen horrific tales of abuse, and I don't even think we've seen all the cases, because I think when this is over, we come out of it, we're going to find so many that were not even reported yet, and parents that might have even buried their own child, like no one's checking. There's no school that's saying little Johnny hasn't been to school in 3 weeks, so we really don't have a grasp on things in that sense.
It shows how important the school is
in
the lives of the children for prevention.
Right.
Was, the teachers, there are a lot of very, very caring teachers, and they're trained that way. And here, see, these are some resources. These are hotlines for the child abuse, and also one for domestic violence. Because, see, with domestic violence, what happens is that is also child abuse, even though it's between two adults. So they're getting abused in all different ways.
Right. Yeah.
There's I don't know if anybody knows about the Dallas Advocacy Center. That's a great child advocacy place.
Dallas.
And we give their whole program to schools. Okay. So if any of the schools need that, you can get in touch with us and we could talk about that. And then also the school program that I was just talking to you about, which is the Jones Joy Mindful Relaxation and Kindness program. If a school system is interested in having that, you can get in contact with us. And then you could get our contact by going on our website. And we have a beautiful website that was just born last week by a beautiful person that met me when I was on the program the first time.
Right, she's a rambler, yeah.
And so you can go on to like menu, and there's contact, there's guests, the guest book, and get in touch with that part.
Right, and I have the links in this video description, and if the moderators could put up the links to the Jones Joy website and Facebook page, that would be wonderful. And they're right in the video. I think it's April. I don't know if April's the only one here yet. We'll see.
Do you have this also? You have that? Okay. So, see what you're doing now, Carolyn, in bringing the subject up and talking about it more. I mean, you don't hear it. It's not, you don't see it in the news. You don't see it on television about these children being abused and all these cases. So people are forgetting about these little children, and they are the most vulnerable, innocent people that we have in this world.
Absolutely.
You know? So then what do we do about that? So maybe people can call their community paper. You could call your county paper and bring the story up. Now, I tried calling 2 papers and I never heard from them. And usually that doesn't usually happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I did get a community paper on. So anything, each person, we could do something like that, then we're standing up for the children and bringing awareness to them, because they're being forgotten, and that's terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah, no, I mean, you hear like, 1 or 2 of the cases, but there for every 1 or 2 that's in the newspaper or the news, there's, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 that you don't hear, that are just reported, very slight, and maybe they have one mention in a, on an online news magazine or paper, that's it. And that's why we are trying to bring awareness to the cases, because there has to be changes here. There's just too many children dying.
You know what I'm thinking? If there's someone that's listening and that writes for a magazine or writes for a large newspaper, maybe some kind of like article can be done about this whole big subject, and then bringing some cases into consideration. Mm-hmm. So start the ball rolling,
Right.
That's an idea,
Yeah, it's just, a lot of us sometimes, like I said, but to you before, a lot of times maybe a few people say that this is really hard to listen to, or this is hard. And I say, yeah, but we have to look at it, because if we don't look at it and we don't get it out there, then these children, in a sense, died in vain. There's nothing that's going to change unless we say enough is enough, and we have to do something.
It's like, I mean, these children didn't even have a chance to live too much.
No, they didn't. Like I told you, that little boy Keaton, he had bruises all over his body, and he's sitting there in the school, and it's his face, and he's holding this thing, and he's this happy little kid, and it just breaks your heart that, that help couldn't get to this child before he was killed. So it's just, it's hard. It's very hard to keep seeing, and they're being failed all along, even by, you say, how could this child be going to school and no one is reporting this?
What state was this in?
Keaton was in, oh my gosh, do you guys know in the chat what state that was right away?
Was it down south? Was it north?
Yeah, let me see though. Anyone? Let me see. Sometimes it takes a second for them to, the chat, to catch up with our talk, but
okay.
I know Gabriel Fernandez, which is on Netflix, West Virginia. West Virginia. Mm-hmm. Is a case where they're trying to hold the Department of Social Services workers accountable, because so much of it was ignored. And we have seen that in cases where they've come out to these homes, they know the kids are being abused, and yet they keep giving these kids back and giving these kids back and making mistakes, and then the kids end up dying. So, yeah.
Well, we just have to keep on, fighting for them, speaking up for them. And, people could even, in their own states, go try to see if they have Jones Law in their state. Mm-hmm. And, I advocated for a lot of Jones Laws, and we got them in New Jersey and in New York and on the federal level. And if people want to know, how to get a law through, I mean, I started just grassroots I wasn't a politician, and I'm still not a politician.
Right.
And, so many things can be done from a grassroots level. We have more capability than we think we have. We just have to have that passion. And how can you not have passion when you hear about these children being mutilated and nobody caring for them like they're garbage?
Mm-hmm.
And Holmes' law says no parole ever for children under 14, that like a person murders a child under 14, no parole ever. But besides murder, there's a sexual assault with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then what we did was, then I advocated for a law, which is now we have it in New Jersey. And this is what, maybe someone might try to do, is go in, this is for all minors under 18. So anyone that sexually assaults and murders a minor under 18 will never, ever, ever, ever be out of prison. They will die in prison. And then families will not have to deal with testifying and with appeals. But the first thing is, as far as the little victim, that person gets the most justice that they can. So also what could happen is, it's such a preventive type law that there might be people out there that are predators. They know about this law and they'll say, I don't want to stay in prison for the rest of my life and have no chance to get out. I don't even have a bit of hope, because even that bit of hope helps them. But they're not going to have that. They're going to stay there, and they're going to have to think of what they did if they want to. And they can, even in prison, change and start to do things, but still they're going to stay there. They're going to stay there because, you're accountable. You're accountable. No excuses.
Right.
So there's so many things that we can do as individuals and as groups, as families, as communities to change things.
Right. And Paula's law now, that's the law in New York. It's essentially the same thing for anyone under 18. And that was
that one we're going for now. So that has passed, like it's in the Senate. So it has to go through another part of the Senate, then it goes through the Assembly. But that one is going in New York State.
Mm-hmm.
In New York State, we got one for under 14. Under 14 is for children, because that's just a way to describe children, like under 14. And then the minors are under 18. But everyone could be considered a minor. So Paula's law just says under 18, no parole for these people. That's sexually assault and murder. And this is a 16-year-old in a town like, 4 miles away from me. That was, raped and murdered. So it's an expansion of Jones' law, and we're going to call it Paula's law to honor her.
Yes.
And I called today to see if I could get any information on it, but I couldn't get through because of what's going on with the pandemic.
Right, absolutely. And
Even
tell
that,
us about what happened to Paula, then now who that law is named after. So she was murdered right in Pearl River, New York, is that?
Yeah.
And she was how old?
16. She worked at the library, and she was walking home from the library, and she only lived a few blocks away. And on her way home, these two men were just coming out of the bar, and they were they were looking for trouble. They were intoxicated, and they were looking for trouble, because they did have one of them. He had a background, and he was just going from one place to the other, they weren't established people.
Mhm.
So they thought that was like almost like a thrill. Yeah.
Right. And so, and she was sexually assaulted and then murdered and left in an alley. That's what?
Not in an alley. It was like, it was on the sidewalk that it happened. And then they brought her like into, I think, the driveway, some driveway.
And her mother is working with you to pass.
No,
No?
no, no. The mother is, has to deal with a terrible thing in New York State. See, the killer they got a certain term. And
Mhm.
after 25 years, they got 25 years. Then what happens is, in New York State, after you pay your term of 25 years, the killer is up for parole every 2 or 3 years. So that's what she has to go through.
Oh, yeah.
She's involved in that.
You're right.
Know?
Yeah, that's terrible. Yeah.
That's what made me start going for Paul's law.
Mm-hmm.
Was just right to see this mother going through this all the time.
Yeah, and you still have to go through it too when he comes up for parole, right?
Jones Killer is eligible for parole. I found out today, May of 2025.
And he is, how old is he now?
He's in it. Let's see, I think like early 70s. Early 70s.
So, and he's
when
in New Jersey. He's in, yeah.
When they have parole, they still have that hope, that, you know.
Yeah.
So that's what Jones Law is going to do. It's going to be complete accountability.
Terrible, but yeah, just for the families to have to relive that over and over, you know, to keep going through that and then keep, you know, being, you know, so anxious about what's going to happen, right? All of that after everything they've gone through. So yeah.
In New York State, every 2 years.
Every
so one of the killers did get freed last year.
One of Paula's killers did get freed?
One. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
After how many years? When was she murdered? Was it the 80s that she was?
Like, it wasn't early 80s. Yeah, in the early 80s. I don't know exactly the exact year. And yeah, it's all you know, like you think there's not hope sometimes, but there is always hope.
Mm-hmm.
Once we don't sit, you know, and just stay there and don't move. We have to just live life.
Yeah, and you know, now with what's happening and what you normally do with the foundation, you normally have a garage sale and you have like fundraisers now. So you must be, you know, and I'm upset too because we were going to come down when you had the garage sale and a bunch of us. And I said, I can't believe this pandemic now. You know, it's everything's changed. So you do have someone that's working on a ringtone that could help you raise money for your foundation, right? And what other types besides just straight out donations? I mean, do you have any other ideas of, you know, ways that?
Now we're in the process, GoFundMe. We're doing that right now, GoFundMe.
Okay.
And then the end of May, that's when we usually had our yard sale.
Mm-hmm.
So we will work something then. I'm thinking there the monies will go there to children at the Davis House in Newark, New Jersey. You know, like that's like a very low socioeconomic area there.
Sure.
And children there there's a lot of poverty. So whatever we do will go there. Now, what kind of fundraiser will we have? I'm not exactly sure, but we can only do everything virtually, you know?
Yeah,
But,
I know.
But if there was someone that had an idea of what we can do, I would be happy to know it. okay, in
Mhm.
place of the yard sale that we can't have. And if you look in my garage now, there are boxes and boxes
Right.
of items that were, because I started working on it, with volunteers in January.
Right. Yeah.
Now,
I'm just, I know
mm,
that they sometimes do them, and I don't know if they, like, there's this thrift store online, which is called ThreadUp. And I think, I'm not sure if they're one that runs fundraisers, but like people, and this could work. I mean, for you guys, if like what happens and what I think happens, and so just, I'm just going by memory. Say everybody would hear about it, and then they send out these bags to people, right? People put their clothing in bags that they're donating for this fundraiser, and it goes to this company and they sell it, and then the profit goes to whatever foundation it's raised for, and that way, like, everyone throughout the United States could participate. That might be one thing to look into, being that if people still have, clothing that they would donate to wherever, Salvation Army or something, that might be something to think about. And I can check into that for you and see where that, is. I know that that
well,
they.
right now we have boxes of clothes
Mhm.
and we have items for the house, and then we have some electronics, so we have everything. So, for 2 months we were gathering that information. That's good,
Mhm.
Carolyn. An idea.
I'll check into it because I know that they did it for like school fundraisers, and yeah, people would just get bags and they would just send it in. Like, there used to be another one called Schoola, which was another, it's like an online thrift store, but I know ThreadUp might do it too. So I could check and see.
You know what I'm also thinking? What we really could use help with is we're not that great with the social media.
Hmm.
People that have that talent and that skill. I mean, I would really appreciate it, like for Jones Joy, to get help that way. And also, if anyone could help us to know how to write grants, I think we have to start getting involved with grants.
Right.
We've been a success. We've tried maybe 3 times and we haven't had success.
Okay, so we'll put the word out here. If anybody has experience with grant writing or social media that can help out the foundation, you can shoot me an email. My email's, in the video description, and I'll pass it along. And I think, hi, someone else joined us?
Yeah, this is Ernie Vandenheuvel.
Hi, Ernie, how are you?
Good. Can you hear me through the phone okay?
Yes, I can. So you're
Okay,
going to
great.
tell us about the ringtone?
Yeah, the White Butterfly guitar ringtone.
Okay.
Well, I just want to say thank you for this opportunity, first of all, and to host Rosemary and the foundation, and for all your hard work. I see your website. It's very, very thorough, and I really appreciate that you do what you do, because it's such a great help to be able to get this message out there, that it's just so sorely needed. And much of what we're experiencing right now, besides the plague, is it's kind of like I guess it would be called a sadness of society, and it's pretty much, there's a reason for it, and a lot of it has to do with desensitization and being desensitized by all these electronic things that we have in our lives, just being so intertwined and so fast that we're desensitized, meaning all of our senses are dulled and shut down. And I have to say that Rosemary, I admire her so much for all of her work and what she's done. She's an actual warrior in the most gentle spirit, and she's got quite a feisty spirit, but in her gentle way, Rosemary is achieving something. It's just huge. And what is that? The resensitization, that gentleness and love from the heart, is what will reconnect us to these things that are real. And that's all the natural things like the forest, you know, animals, all things natural made by God, will resensitize us, because the society electronically has been desensitized. And Rosemary's work, again, I'm in total awe of it, and all the foundation members and everybody that's involved with this. I applaud all of you for resensitizing, and with Rosemary's message, which I think the message is: wake up, stand up, and speak up. And that is the most gentle from the heart, which is where Rosemary only comes from. And for knowing her for so many years, I don't know if a lot of people know my background, but I was 15 years old when Joni was killed, and the whole town and people from surrounding towns came and searched for her. That whole town just searched from that Thursday, that Friday. I mean, the whole town just shut down, and people were everywhere. We were doing Liberty Park, and she was just searched for, and she had disappeared, and she walked 3 houses away and to deliver cookies, and that was the end of her life there. And this is an unbearable, you know, the loss of a child, and in such a manner, it's unbearable. But I give the love of Joni that's coming through. Her voice is coming through Rosemary, and her voice comes through to all the foundation members and the followers and all the people that are involved. Joni's voice comes through with this gentle message of love, and she's really everywhere. And that's really what we need to look for, to resensitize ourselves in this totally desensitized society that we live in, which is today, and we're trying the best to get through it. But we do have to open our hearts and use love. And through Joni, these things that are natural comes these connections to the white butterfly, and butterflies, and Joni as the spirited, most beautiful little 7-year-old kid you've ever seen in your life. To see that video, and I want to say thank you much for that video. Oh, I think that video is touching, and it's just so loaded with love and tenderness, and to see the love of that little girl is just, it's inspiring. And I was certainly inspired when I saw it. And the connections to the natural things of love, like Rosemary, when we sit on the deck and we're talking and we're taking care of our issues and foundation, and I helped the foundation out for many, many years. But that's the natural beauty. We listen to the birds sing, and we have the greatest, most joyous conversations. And I want to say thank you, Rosemary, for that, because that's what we need. We need great, warm, joyful conversations in our lives. Again, all to resensitize. So I had mentioned earlier that when this all happened, I was 15 years old. I had come back in touch with the foundation many, many years ago when I read in the newspaper that Rosemary and her sons, who took up this cause to keep this man in jail, this monster. You call him a man, he's not. He's a totally destroyable monster, and it's just sad that these people have these serious character. I think it's serious character damage. I don't know what damage to this person, but when that comes out in harm to a child, you take that child's innocence. It's intolerable, and it's very angering, and I get very, very upset. And to resensitize myself, thank God I have some vents. I play guitar, and you know, I'm not very good, but I've been playing it for many years, and I just pick up my guitar and I vent out some of my things this way. And I have other vents too, motorcycles and bulldozers and things like that. But when I think about the anger of the taking of this person, this beautiful girl, and all the children that are being threatened, even right now as we talk, it's very, very angering, and it's upsetting. And unfortunately, it's the truth, and we do need to know this truth. So when I connected back with the foundation, it was because to keep this man in jail, I realized that Rosemary keeps going down to Trenton and all her warrior journeys with her beautiful sons, who I admire greatly, both John and Michael. They're great men and strong and passionate men too. And I really respect them for for the love of their sister and their mom and all kids. And that's really a big, big structural foundation part of the foundation. But when I got back in touch with the foundation, I wanted to help. And the best thing I could do was just try to help the family get down there to keep this man in jail. And today we do need to do that. And I don't want to get too far away from what I had started out with, and that's the resensitization. And this is what Rosemarie's real message is to everyone, to resensitize and realize the beauty that we have in life, this precious gift that we're given, that it should be adored and worshiped. We need to worship life, and that's to resensitize to life. So that'll lead me up to, I live right now probably a mile away from where they found Joni's body, and it's in Stony Point, New York. I'm as the crow flies, probably about a half of a mile away. And I often go up to the site there. And I had gone up on Easter Sunday, as I usually do every Easter Sunday. And I have magical happenings up there, and these are things of the spirit. And I'm very resensitized to life, not only through Rosemarie's work and the foundation's work and Joni herself, but the nature around us, just being outside in the forest. And so I was up there on Easter Sunday, and I had this very special thing happen, and there was a wreath there, and these daffodils, as John said, I thought they were crocuses. I took a picture of it, and they were growing straight up through the wreath. And I just said, wow, can I get this wreath off of these? And I just lifted it straight up, and I shook it, and there were 18 shoots I counted, and I took a photograph of that. But the funny part is, before this, I was just downstairs, and there's a sliding door to the outside, and there's a rose bush about 8 feet tall, and it was turning green. And I was on the phone, and I looked out the window, and for one split second, a white butterfly, pretty good size too, came through one of the links in the fence and went up 8 feet over the rose bush and then up over the neighbor's house. And I went, look at that. And by the time I got out there, I just ran to the door, and I opened, I went outside. It had flown over there. And I said, oh my God. And this was 2:40 p.m. on Easter Sunday. And then I got dressed, and I drove up the hill, and I went to the site. And that's when I went down. I saw the daffodil shoots coming through the wreath. And that was my Sunday experience. So that fit with what I came up with. And Rosemarie was just asking about having, ideas. And one of the ideas I came up with the foundation was a ringtone. And I played guitar. And one day I was leaving, probably about a month or so ago, maybe about 2 months ago. I was just on my way out the door. I had my briefcase in my hand, and I opened up the door where I had seen a white butterfly 10 years ago, came right up to me, right up to my face, and went over my head and over the house. And I was just fascinated by that. And that night I spoke at the Seasons dinner down in Hillsdale, New Jersey, or Washington Township rather. And I was moved, and I spoke there at the dinner, and it was pretty amazing. And at the same stoop, on the front stoop, the porch, I put my foot down, and something said, go back and play your guitar. And I don't know why, but I just obeyed that little voice. And I went back inside, took off my jacket, put my briefcase down, pulled out my guitar case, opened it up, and I just played this little, what's known in the music world is called a trill. So I started playing this little 3-note trill, and I played it about 6 times, and I said, wow, it sounds like a butterfly. And I said, wow, what if we turn this into like a ringtone? It immediately came to me like, people need to hear this. And it was just a soft, beautiful, resensitized little riff, if you will. And I played it, and I can play it for you now because I have my guitar right in my hands.
Yeah.
And and we want to turn that into a ringtone and offer it for sale so that we can help the foundation. And when you hear this, we're going to record it, and we're going to put it up into an app. We're working on that right now, as a matter of fact. We think that, and when I played, what I did was I called Rosemarie right that day. I had my guitar in my hand. I was so excited. And I said, Rosemarie, you're not going to believe this. I just got this feeling to not leave, but to play my guitar. I picked it up, and out comes this song, this little this little trill is called, and I call it the White Butterfly Guitar Ringtone. And I'm going to do it for you. And I'm just going to play it like 6 times. It's 3 strings, and then I'm just going to let it set a second. Then I'm going to do it again so you get it. But it'll only take a moment, and I hope this comes out. So this is the White Butterfly Guitar Ringtone for the foundation and in memory of Joni.
Very nice. Yeah, no, it sounds great. No, I know there's a lot of people too that would buy that for the foundation. So what do you have to do to get it into this app and get it ready to go?
Well, that's what we're trying to find out right now. I have a couple of friends that are in the music industry and they're looking into it, but all I have to do really is record it. We could probably record it over the phone as you just heard it, or go into a studio and just do a little, 7 or 8 second clip. But we see that as a ringtone that it's very soft and it's very warm and it's almost like a gentle ring. And I think that if I heard that, if my phone would, I'm going to definitely get it once we get it. I think that would be so enjoyable and like pleasant, because if I'm talking to you, you and I are talking, and I hear a cell phone ring, it just cuts my conversation and my thought. But if I heard that, it would actually be, I don't know, welcome. So that's one of the benefits of it. And it's just a simple little thing. And there is beauty in simplicity. And that's why I came up with it. And I'm donating that to the foundation. And I hope everybody gets the chance to at least purchase it and listen to it and utilize it and tell us what you think about what it inspires in you, because it was inspired by me walking out and that butterfly that day, and something told me to go do this, and it just came out. And that's how Joni really works in people. And that's really how I'd like to just finish up. What I'd like to say is that her spirit is so amazing and so strong and so beautiful and pure and innocent. Her spirit is just love. And I can't tell you why it shouldn't have happened, but it did. And I am grateful today to know that little girl's spirit is alive and it's really thriving through all of us as what? Awareness, child safety awareness. And that's what we hope that ringtone brings, is just the awareness, just the gentle, loving thought of a beautiful little girl, 7 years old, and that little butterfly tone. And I see that little girl smiling. So it just moved me, and I hope it moves a lot of people, but I hope it does what we only intend it to do. And that's what Rosemarie and I agreed on, is just so that we can all hear the spirit of Joni, and that's all that continues, is the spirit of Joni, the spirit of Joni. And that's the thrust of all of this, is her spirit is alive and well and really helping, because there are people this has helped. And I'm so grateful to know that. And that's really what makes this rewarding. And I just want to say again to Rosemarie, you're my hero, Rosemarie, because of what you've done. You've gotten laws, legislators, councilmen, senators. They can't do, Rosemarie, what you did. They can't hold a candle to what you have done for child safety awareness. And I am honored to be your friend. So thank you so much, Rosemarie. And ma'am, thank you so much for giving us all the opportunity, because this is an amazing night. And I hear that terrible things are still going on, and they go on as we go. But child safety awareness begins in a gentle way, and it's in our hearts. And I wish everybody love and safety and the compassion that we all so sorely need.
Thanks, Ernie, for coming on, and appreciate it. The ringtone is great. So I'm sure everything will be updated on the Facebook page, the website, when that's available, right? And then we'll get it out there as soon as there's something, a link that someone can go and purchase it.
I'll let you know, like when we get to that point.
Okay,
Where we do.
good.
Wait, Ernie, that was eloquent and so much from the heart. And when you're talking about the desensitizing, you know what, Carolyn? I think that's the word. That's the word we were talking about.
Yeah, yeah. And I think too, when you do cover stories like that and then you hear it, it comes up here. People say, "Oh, I don't want to get desensitized because we see so much horrible, tragedy."
That was eloquent.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm sorry. That was just me for a second. Well, I have to say, well, thank you for that. I can only speak from my heart, and I know I've been dedicated to this cause. Here's the thing. When you're a parent of one child, you're a parent of every child. And I think what's really missing in this desensitization and the work that you do, Rosemarie, is to resensitize. It's about gentleness. And really, we need to get back to the literary. We need to get back to storytelling and story writing and just a general sense of closeness and warmth, just that's real and genuine, not electronically connected. And there's half the battle right there. But we're stuck. We're trapped in this because we all agreed to get into it. We all allowed this to happen, like to be electronically connected. And yet the outpouring of love that came out was a real thing back in 1973. And that's what I had mentioned a little bit earlier. This outpouring of love was just strangers, people who didn't even know. People read about this in the paper or they heard it on the radio. People came from everywhere. I was a 15-year-old boy, and I was in shock and awe to see this outpouring of love because I knew the people in the town there. I lived in Hillsdale at that point, and I knew all my friends, 15, 16, 14, but everybody. There were adults, there were people with dogs, and just the town responded with love. What happened to this little girl? Where did she go? Oh my God. People came from everywhere. And that outpouring of love was not electronic at all. It was just how people responded, and they responded with love, like I think they will respond today. And that's what we need. We need this response of love because love is the strongest power in this world. It's gentleness. Love is really gentleness. And that's what my grandmother always said to me. She said, the most powerful strength on this whole planet is gentleness and patience. And I was like, wow, here I am. I'm an adult now. And I'm like, my grandmother was right. So gentleness and patience.
Yeah, you know what I wanted to say is that the white butterfly really is everyone's white butterfly. And it just doesn't belong to me or to you. It belongs to each one of us. Mm-hmm. And in your life, when you see a white butterfly, just see where you are. See how it makes you feel. I don't think it's going to make you feel sad. You're going to feel hope, and it's going to give you some feistiness, okay? And something like that. And how it all started was when I went up to the site. Carolyn, do you have a picture of the site? Do you have a picture?
Let me see if I can get a picture. Is
It's
there one on the website that I can grab real quick? Is there one on the website?
There's one, yeah, on Facebook.
Okay, on Facebook, okay.
Yeah. Right now it has about almost 3,000 people reaching it.
Okay, hang on.
Love it. And that's a site that Ernie was talking about before too.
Okay.
I want to tell you, you're going to wonder why a white butterfly? What is the story behind it? There's a story behind it. Just started at that site.
So I'm there. I see the sign in memory of Joan D'Alessandro. Is that?
Yeah.
Do you want me to go there?
Yes.
Okay.
Just show everybody
And
that.
I'll share it. Yeah. Let me just get my Zoom up here so I can share that picture. Then new tab. So put that here. Okay. And let me just share it. Pull this up. Share. Share screen. Okay. All right, it'll be up on YouTube in just 1 second. You should.
Okay, so there's a site, okay? Now, you see how that is there? See, it's up, it's up in the mountains, Harriman State Park. So you would go down, like down a hill, like behind that, the sign.
Mhm.
And then you go down a little bit, and there are these two boulders that came together, and it made a space, and that's where Joan's body was put. And it was interesting. It was in 2006 that I had gone there. I hadn't been able to go for 8 years because I have myasthenia gravis, which is autoimmune. And at that time, I didn't have the strength.
Mhm.
So then I was getting better and better, getting out of bed, being able to get out of the house. And I went up there. That was 2006. So it was on April 22nd. It was like the anniversary when Joan was found on Easter. She was found on April 22nd. And that was like yesterday. In fact, yesterday we did go up here to the site. And I'm coming up the hill, and behind the boulders, these two boulders that were joined almost together, close together, there I saw something white, and I didn't know what it was. So I was the only one up there at that time.
Mhm.
I thought it was a moth, but I said it can't be a moth because they come out at night. Well, anyway, it was a butterfly. So I found out we have white butterflies called cabbage whites. Well, when I saw that white butterfly, I said, oh my goodness. It was the most peaceful, beautiful moment. I felt so connected to Joan, and I knew that was her saying, oh, I'm so glad, Ma, that you're feeling better, because now you're going to have some work to do, and you're going to have to be my voice.
Right.
And you're going to have to breathe more, even more. And it's going to go on for a while. So that's how the white butterfly story started. Then I was hearing, oh, Ernie would see a white butterfly, Jackie would see a white butterfly, John would see a white butterfly, Michael would see a white butterfly, and I was hearing about their stories. And this was continuing to now, we're in 2020, and it's even more now, and more people are talking about the white butterfly. I said, the white butterfly is everyone's white butterfly. And you have to remember, okay, in my religion, like Holy Thursday is very important. Easter Sunday, a lot of people know about Easter Sunday. That's very important. And those are the 2 days. She died on Holy Thursday. She was found on Easter. For me, that was a sign of hope. And then the movement started in 93 when I was told if I didn't fight to keep her killer in prison, there was a good chance he could come out. He couldn't come out. There was just a case in New Hampshire. The person is in prison. He had a day, he was up for parole after 35 years. He was up and he got out. And he had sexually assaulted and killed a child. So that could have happened in New Jersey. So then that's when everybody started, in this movement, and the movement started with one circle, then another circle of people, another circle of people, and that circle became a big circle, and that's how we kept him in. That was, it was very important for the parole board to see how the community works and how they really responded, and they were telling them, you have to keep him in. Because that's another thing, everyone. The parole board will listen to the people, but you have to speak out and you have to let them know. And the more you do it as a group, that's even better. But even as just a few people, they listen to the people, even though you don't think so. So I just wanted to share, because, Ernie is talking about the white butterfly and what it really is about. And with Joan, yes, even after so many years, it's more, her legacy is stronger, more feisty, more alive, more gentle, more beautiful, more hopeful than it ever was. And there's going to be so many other things that are going to happen through this little white butterfly. That's the way I feel inside. My gut tells me that. So, it's like, this is very good, Carolyn, that there is this opportunity for me to speak to so many people, because I feel and I believe that Joan's story is not known enough.
Right, oh, it isn't. And I explained that to you like last year when I talked about it. No, I mean, and we have people that know about almost everything. And then I went to Web Sleuths, which she's going to get your story out too. She has a big site and she's going to put it out there because there was hardly anything there. And I said, wow, this is really crazy that nobody knows about this. And the majority of people didn't. And so that's when I did the story on it in the video and talked about it. And then when the killer across the table, that was a weird thing too.
Yes.
Because we had no idea. We had no idea Joan was in the book, right? So we were in a book club, and somebody said, "Let's get the killer across the table." And somebody started reading in it ahead of time. They said, "Carolyn, you're not going to believe this. Do you know the first 9 chapters are about that case you told us about?" And I said, "Oh my gosh, are you kidding me?" So I picked up the book and I said, "This is crazy, because how would that just come out?" I had done the video, talked about it, and then the book arrives and there it is, the first 9 chapters about that. It was just,
Gosh.
yeah.
Yeah. There's a message there.
Yeah, right. Because I was thinking she was, because there is like another Girl Scout. Like somebody told me, "Oh, I know about the Girl Scout," but it was a different one. So I said, "Oh, it probably is a different one." And then I picked up the book, and I'm like, "No, this is it." I said, "It's crazy that I didn't even hear about it." When I was hearing John Douglas talk about the book, or until it arrived, and then someone said it, and I looked at it, and I was, struck with that.
In fact, I have those books, and if someone would like a book, I could send it to you, and they're $25 each. The foundation gets maybe about $7 from it, and then you get a picture of Joan with her signature, and that signature she wrote her name the morning of the day she died, when she was writing to Noni and Grandpa, like she was making a little card for them for Easter.
Right. And we've told, and we also have Web Sleuths had said, go to the website, to your Facebook page, and, purchase the book there. You'll get a special bookmark with Joan's signature there. So that's very good.
Is there anyone from Joan's Joy that's on besides Ernie?
I don't, gentlemen.
I'm still here.
Okay. Is there anyone else from Joan's Joy?
I don't see anyone comment.
Oh, okay. But we don't know if they're listening.
They could be listening.
Okay. Hi, Joan's Joy. Hi.
So, and then who you had Sunday, the pediatrician you had from what, Franklin Lakes?
Yeah, Mandana.
Right. So she works with the foundation too, right? And
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I was just wondering, if she was on.
Yeah, they might be listening, or they might listen after. I mean, a lot of people listen live and they listen again, and it does go all over the world. So, everybody has, a lot of people did learn of her story here, and then through the book and through you, and the last time you were on, and you'll have to read the chat later because there's a lot of positive comments for you. So,
What I would say is also, April 19th was the anniversary that Joan passed. And then on April 22nd, yesterday, was the anniversary when she was found. And she died around 3 o'clock. because she left a little bit before that, about 10 minutes before that. And that's why Ernie was saying that he saw that white butterfly come through the space of the fence, of the metal fence, at around 20th to 3. So it seemed so, so amazing.
Yeah,
And-
that's the big connection right there. You're right. The timing of how things happen. I agree with that.
Yes, yeah. And then on Easter, she was found at about 1 o'clock. And then we found out about 4 o'clock. Yeah.
Oh.
On Easter, on Easter, that was like yesterday. Yes, yeah. But I'm going to tell you something. Even though it's so many years, right? I mean, her anniversary is 47 years. And every year, all these years, you have to go, like, you're going twice, you're going through the reflection and through the hard part is Holy Thursday and Easter during that time, and then the 2 dates. And every year is different. But yet there's one thing that's always the same. And you know what that is? And it just comes. And especially on the 19th and the 20th and the 21st, before I knew, exactly, that I knew she was found.
Mhm.
Because in my heart, I knew that, she was never going to come back. But what I always feel, and I was trying to explain, I was reflecting on the feeling of it, it's almost like there's a fog that comes over, and the fog is there sometimes during those days, and I don't know when it's going to come. It's a light fog, but it's just hard. And then what happens is on the day that she was found, like yesterday, then you feel the fog is not there the same way. But what I do reflect on, is then I was into the deep reality of things. And that's like, woo, that is like something that's almost like that you have to get through, that is so strong in front of you, not a wall, but something that is so heavy, so solid to get through. And I would imagine that other parents have, their way of explaining what they go through, and especially parents where a little child has been, the same thing done as like Joan. So that's what I just wanted to say. And I tell you the truth, it's just part of the journey. It's part of the journey. I don't think I could talk like I'm talking now, like say on the 20th of April. I wouldn't be like crying, like I just would be like, there would be a crying voice. So that's just the way it is. So I'm just telling you, like, just because you might seem, a person strong, they have to go through things,
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, but that doesn't stop it. And that doesn't stop. That's part of the journey. And I like it. I like it when people share with me and they'll tell me, oh, I'm thinking of Joan today on her day that she died. That helps me.
Right.
So I think it could help other parents too, that are, even if it isn't as like violent like what happened to Joan, to say, I'm thinking of Amy today. I'm thinking of any, little Mary today. And that could help, that helps parents, because I know that helps me a lot.
Right. And I want to ask you something, because because we are victims advocates, and sometimes, believe it or not, some people, are very nasty to the victims and the victim's family, especially after something happens. And we see it in this a little boy. I don't know if you're familiar with Gannon Stauk, the little boy that went missing, and well, they said he ran away. It was all a lie. The stepmother killed him, murdered him,
The one in
well,
West Virginia?
allegedly, she hasn't been convicted in the court of law yet, but okay. The evidence is very strong there. So what happened is now, you know, we'll see every so often. It's not, somebody will say, oh, the father should have known, the mother should have, oh, they're terrible parents. They're all at, you know, like, and the parents themselves are going through so much. And I say, you know, don't you think every parent, no matter what, you know, like, even if it's nothing like that, you feel, you give guilt to yourself because you didn't put the apple in the lunchbox one day, right? You know, so when you have something like this, I said, we're not going to do that, and we won't tolerate it, because they're going through enough. Nobody's saying they're sanctifying them and saying they were perfect parents, but they're going through unbelievable grief. And then people come and say, oh, he should have known. He should have known that woman he married was going to murder his kid. You know, he was in the military, he was at a trade, you know, so that they come and they give this, you know, and this guy, you could see him on the news, he's in terrible grief over this, right? And I just think it's so wrong, because what positiveness is that bringing, you know, right? To say, oh, you should have done something. Don't you think he's kicking himself every day, you know, for things you don't know, right? Right. So what could you say, you know, and I understand you didn't have to go through it in a time of social media, but it's just amplified, you know, when it's on social media, because more and more people know the story, and some people are just mean, and they want to attack. And I think the reason they attack is because they're scared of it happening to their child. So if they attack the person and say, well, it happened because he was a bad father, what happened because she was a bad mother, it wouldn't happen to me. And I think that's how they try to explain it for them. So you're following me? So they then project that it's not going to happen to me, because those people that it happened to, it's because they're at fault.
Yeah, yeah. But these people are completely judging.
Right.
They don't know anything. They don't know anything.
No, they don't.
And so today it's social media. Like a long time ago, it was more how you knew. You didn't have to have social media, because it was just so quiet. It was like a person, the way they look at you, or else you'd hear something from another person and you'd hear it that way. So it was more almost like there was a secrecy to it, but there was air. There was an air it was not like a positive air, like, and that's what was going on then. But these people that, you know, have this, oh my God, I just hope that they have some support, you know?
I'd like to speak to that, if I may. You know, Carolyn, that point you bring up is a very sensitive point, which really speaks to what I was talking about earlier, desensitized. There's a medium out there, this electronic medium, that people can actually reach out and be mean. It's really bad. And they're hiding, you know, because you can't really see their face. You don't know who they are. They are anonymous, but they are desensitized in that. How can anybody think it's okay to be negative in the face of this heartbreaking pain? Because if you think about the human element, all of our pain is the same. We don't really learn about life until we learn about the loss of life, like those who are closest to us, whether we lose our parents, our children. That pain it doesn't go away. It recedes. It's like a wave. It hits the beach and then it goes back into the whole ocean, and it's right there. But how the electronically, when people can reach out, it's a special kind of mean. It's beyond mean. It's inhuman. It's inhuman, because that pain is the same for us when we experience loss. Our tears are the same. All of our tears as human beings have the same amount of salt in it. And that's a medical fact. How a person could reach out into this pain, it drives me. That's the most angering thing in the world, when I see somebody being mean, and it's so desensitized that it's cut off from life. And and people, they'll do it here, then they'll hang up or whatever, and they'll go do it again over there. And this is, I think that's what, again, what I spoke about earlier, that's a serious character damage for somebody to do that to somebody else when they're experiencing this pain, no matter who it is, a man, a woman, or a child. That pain is absolutely real. And for somebody to play on that pain, that's serious character damage. And that's what's wrong with society. So many, occupants, if you will, of society possess that, and they go out. And that's the sadness of the world that I was talking about earlier. We shouldn't be in that sadness because we're desensitized. We should resensitize to natural things of life, the earth, each other. Like the Constitution says, we're in this together. And we dedicate our lives and everything to each other to make this country work. And the way it is right now, people can get away with it and do so many things.
I'm thinking of something, Ernie, thinking of something where it could kind of balance us and help us to be strong, be feisty, but still not let the anger get us, because there's always be people like this. And it's up to us to help those people that are going through it, okay? And that's through all acts of kindness and being sensitive. And another way it could be done is through prayer, if you believe in prayer, because prayer is very strong. And prayer is a way of speaking, okay? It's like a way of speaking to, like, say with me, it's God. And you could pray to whoever like someone like above you. It's above you.
Yeah.
And then like what we do, like say on Sundays, and Carolyn came, we have a prayer group. And it doesn't matter what your religion is. It doesn't matter if you have a religion or don't. And everybody says their own prayer, whatever was coming from their heart, ever what they believe, and they have intentions. So that's where we can have intentions for these people that are going through this pain, to help them, and that they could feel some energy that there are people that care. So we do it like every Sunday. And if you ever want to have, like, I could send you, I could give you the, what to click on and all, but it's at 4 p.m. And we started it with the whole plague coming out. So now we've done it 5 times. But I think that prayer balances things too.
Well, you're right, Rosemary. You're right, being gentle and loving and caring, even to these people. You're right, and I always agree with you on that. Never will I do.
I'm not saying to be, I'm not saying that they're going to be out there, okay? So what we have to do is not get taken by them. You see, we have to be strong than them. To be stronger than them, we can do it by helping the people that need the help. So then you're going to help that person that's going through the pain, and the other person that's saying all these nasty things, it's not going to be as hurting, because that person knows there's all these people that care, you see, and pray for them. So it balances, but you're always going to have people like that. Always going to have people like that.
Yeah, and we should try to guide that into creativity if we
that's
can.
Their choice. That's a choice. That's a choice that they.
Yep. That's right.
But we have to think of most of the other people that there's so much that we could do together. Yeah, as a big force together.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, and that's what we try to do here, and keep that advocacy for the parents, the families that are going through that, because there's a lot of keyboard warriors behind there that just like to go over there and shoot their mouth off without, they won't come up. It happens in everything. And that's, like you said, social media gives them that power because they hide behind a fake name and just they don't show their face and they don't even give their voice. They just type horrible things. But it gets back to the difference.
Thank you, Carolyn. You're absolutely right. And I would just like to point out too that I think we need more God. And maybe it's just me, but I think that there's a spirit, you can call it a higher power, whatever you like to call it, but there is something so big and immense, and it's the creator of the universe. And we're just on this little speck planet. We're Earth. We're like moss on a rock, if you think about it. And I think that we need more God and not less, and more gospel, which is simply good news. And good news about the love that is in our hearts, that we're placed here. We've been desensitized from this thing that put us here. We're here for a reason. And, the journey of life is to find out what life is. And it teaches us many lessons. But I think that we need a little more God and a little more goodness. And Godness is goodness. And in everything we do, as Rosemary says, kindness, that's the greatest gift we can have, is to be kind to one another. It's the greatest gift, and it's so missing. And really, I look for that everywhere. I really do. And I wish it on everyone. And I think everybody is blessed if they're alive, that we're here to love and care for each other. And look what we're doing, as desensitized as we are. So we do need to find that vent and deliver our love to the vent, whatever it is, writing, art, but it is for each other. And we need to love our kids. If there was more God, there'd be more love for the kids.
Okay. You know what's happening right now? We have an example of something very positive with Carolyn that started this whole Mommy Ramblings. The people that are listening now, right now, and then go out and tell their friends. I mean, all this is positive. What you're saying, Ernie, so positive. And I mean, doesn't it make you like feel like doesn't it give you strength? Doesn't it give you some strength that we're all here doing this tonight?
Yeah,
No?
I think those signs give you strength, because what I was going to say is it was a detective that worked on the Colorado case of Chris Watts, right? And we talked about that. Was made the most horrific recovery scene they've ever seen out there. They had to take the girls out of the oil tanks, right? Little girls. And he got so angry. This was the main detective from the Frederick Police Department. He couldn't take it. He got PTSD. He didn't know how to handle it. And he was a Catholic. He was an altar boy. He said he lost his faith. He lost his faith so badly because he said, it's the same thing. How can there be God? And these children suffered like this horrifically. And this pregnant woman was murdered at the hands of this man. And so he has started a blog, and he said, he just about lost his faith, and he kept seeing this Bible verse. And it was Ephesians 6:12. And it reads, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." He said that, and he just heard the lyrics of this song, which was "In Your Name," which was a spiritual song. He said, and I don't even listen. He said, I told my wife, look up these lyrics. And then he got his faith back, but he still has tremendous PTSD from the recovery, but he has a blog about it, and it's very real. And he said, I thought, well, there can't be a God, my faith, he was losing it, because how can this happen? And a lot of people say the same thing, right? You've heard that. How can there be God when all these horrible things happen? But he actually had he remembered when he was driving back from the oil site that Jesus was, he said, this is going to sound crazy, but Jesus was sitting next to me. And he said, and I just was screaming at him the whole time, like, how could you do this? Where were you when that he was doing this? And then he said, Jesus didn't say anything, and he felt a female presence in the back seat. And then he said, Jesus said, I was there. And he said, his blog is, I could send you the link to his blog, but we did read it here the other night. And so it tells about all that wrestling with his spirituality, kind of losing it, finding it again. And then, like you say, signs. Well, he kept seeing signs that led to this Ephesians 6:12. And, it was coming up. His wife was finding it in her email. And it's like that white butterfly for you, right? So everybody has their own signs, and that show them there is a greater force, I think. You know what I mean? That brings you back to when you lose all hope, that something points you that there is something. And I think that's important.
Well, there's a lot to be said for that, Carolyn. But really, one of the bigger points I get out of it is that when any man or woman can say, how could a God let this happen? You have to understand, we're humans and we're only made in the image of God. And as humans, we are frail. We bend and we break. And when you say that, when I hear that somebody says that there is no God to let this happen, that's not true, because God put us here. This is us to take care of this earth and to take care of each other. And when we do things like men, women, or children, when we do things like that harm the other, that bring damage, we really break a law. We break the heart of what? Of God, of what we're put here to do. So we need, I'm only speaking for myself, and I don't really speak for anyone else, but to have strength inside, inner fortitude, this is what we get from our character and how we were brought up. Strength and inner fortitude is, God gives us this thing called tenacity. And my description of tenacity is the glue that holds everything together when everything around is exploding. Tenacity is a glue. It's the magic love of God, I believe. And that's really all I've been given, is a ton of tenacity. And I know Rosemary has it, and Carolyn, you have it too. You may not know it, but tenacity is this magic thing, and it holds things together, and it is positive, and it allows us to be positive when we need it, when we're in this hardship, which we are now, of society, this sadness. But again, with God didn't allow all those children to perish. God puts us here to watch over them so that they don't perish. So when we fall asleep on the job, or we're looking over there, or doing this over here, and these things happen, we do need to take responsibility. And the first thing is to become more aware. But God is good, and God is strong, and God is in us. And, you always have the other side, the darkness. I don't call it anything but dark. And God is the light. And when you shine light on the dark, there's the truth. And truth always comes in a triangle, 3 parts: Father, Son, Holy Spirit. So, even to know what truth and what is real, it has 3 parts to it: front, back, and center. Like us, we're real, we're true. We have a front, a back, and a center, just like the Holy Triumvirate. So the Holy Trinity, rather, I'm sorry. This we need more of in society, and we need good, strong, clear-hearted people, because this darkness is all around. It's all around, it's everywhere, and it's touching everything. And the only thing that will dispel it is the light, and that is the goodness in our hearts, coming forward in a very simple way, reaching out, like Rosemary always says. We form the circle, we hold hands. And that is one of the most powerful links of love we can have. It's just a simple gesture. And it really respects our God. And that's really what love should be. We need more God. We need more love. And that's really the whole message.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's very well said. So I did put a link to this blog in the chat, and you can see, because it was entitled, "I Had Almost Given Up." Because that's what he did. And he found his, he found it again. So I had given up. That's what he said. So
is that Ephesians 6:12?
Ephesians 6:12. Yeah. So yeah, because wrestling against that incredible darkness, as you said, Ernie, that's in the world. So
yeah, and that darkness in the world is very simple, Karen. I'm sorry.
Carolyn,
Mhm.
I wanted to see if that, I was thinking of like going soon,
Okay, yeah. I
having
know.
more, want to do more. I could stay another half hour if you like.
Okay, it's up to you. I mean, I don't want you to tire you out, you're welcome back anytime,
But
and
now, did you have more that involved? Because that, or else I was just going to leave you with that. Anyone that wants to get involved with helping now with Jones Joy with the GoFundMe, we're having that right now, and you could go on to
let me get
the
up the link in the chat.
Yeah,
Is it on the Facebook
and-
page?
yeah,
Okay.
it's on the Facebook page, and
No, it's on the website.
it's on the website.
Website.
No,
Okay.
website.
I'll get it there.
Yeah, jonesjoy.org is the website, jonesjoy.org. And then the monies will go towards the telehealth computers for the kids,
Okay.
for these,
Oh, here it is. I see it.
kids, these very neglected kids that are living in homes.
Okay, so this is the GoFundMe.
Mhm.
Okay.
Because of the COVID,
And
And it's all because, it's going to help them very much with the COVID.
okay.
that-
Yeah, so we'll get that out, and I'll put it in the video description too. And then I will check into that online thrifts, like where everybody would get a bag, put it in, and I'll look into a fundraiser that because I think there is one. And that would be easy because people could declutter their, homes. Because I'm telling you, we were all going to come down to this garage sale and bring stuff and help you and meet together. And we're looking forward to it. And then I'm like, how does this pandemic happen? So it's just crazy.
who would have ever thought of this,
No,
right?
never, right?
Never in 100 years.
Yeah.
And
So
here we are. Here we are.
we have
And
to,
we're trying to get creative. We have to get
Yeah.
creative.
but I'll look into that. I'm sure I'll find something, and that'll be an easy way for anybody, no matter where they are in the United States, to contribute something and get rid of.
If anyone has any questions or they need anything from me, like information, I could stay, if you'd like.
Does anybody have any questions they want to ask Rosemarie? You can put them in the chat, and then her email too is on the Facebook page that's there now. So, and they've been putting the links up all night. So they should
So
have
the Facebook, it's ROSEBD at email.
Yeah, I think. Oh, is that? Okay, I'm trying to say there is an
That's my
John's email,
email.
but he would forward it to you, obviously, right? So yeah, they can if they contact you there, or I don't know if yours is up there. Do you want me to put, John? Can you put your mom's email?
John, what would you? Okay, John, you're needed here.
So they could just contact us through the contact link on the website or.
Okay, all right, yeah, okay, so that'll go through. All right, so
Thank you.
and, I did want to just show the website. Let's show the new. I'm going to share the website. Let me share that here for a sec.
Rachel, it's awesome.
Yeah, right. I know. So
Beautiful. Look at that, buddy.
this is the new website, and you have everything up here: the case background, Jones Legacy, articles, events and news, galleries. Contact us, and you can sign the guest book, and you can donate. Now, does this donate is just to the foundation, and then the one down below is the GoFundMe, right? Right here.
Yeah, that's the GoFundMe
It's the
one.
GoFundMe. So, and then you can order the book here, right? Killer Across the Table.
Book, yeah.
Yeah. And April is National Child Abuse Prevention Month, and that's why we're here. And here's
And
those
then-
numbers. Remember those numbers, Rose
Yeah.
had, Rosemarie, right here.
Yeah.
And there's us.
That-
And how crazy is this? I'm wearing the same shirt.
Oh, you are?
Oh my goodness, that's bad. That's really bad. I should have looked at that before. Okay.
Sorry.
It would be good if you were wearing the same one as well. Okay.
I almost did.
Okay, that would be fun. Okay.
You know, Carolyn, I just wanted to point out something, and all the people, I am reading the chats over there. And yeah, there's a story, and I've read it a few places, but it's called Footprints. And it was about the man who walked through the desert like Jesus, and he was walking, and after the journey, he turned around and he looked, and there was only one set of footprints, and he was talking to God all along, like God this and God that, and he was having this conversation and everything he needed and wanted. And he gets to the end of the desert, or the end of his journey, he turns around and there's one set of footprints, and he says, God, you left me alone. I made that through without you. And what did he say? No, son, I carried you. You weren't walking alone. I was carrying you. And that's how we get through these hard, dark times. We do have to be our own cheerleader, but you do need to know that there is a God, and that God provides. And it provides our good sense.
Ernie, it's also all of us together. Like, for instance, tonight, and that is there's so much power to it. And it's so positive, it's so good, and it's so kind, and so fun. I mean, we're laughing over here about wearing the same shirts.
Yeah, right.
So, I mean, come on, that's cool. I don't know who's going to wear the same shirt too. I'm looking at it, oh my God.
You know what picture you have to put up here, though, is the one where Joan is opening that Christmas present.
Oh my gosh.
You have to put that one back up there. That is great. That one is.
That one is, oh, it's not up?
I don't think it's there, is it? Or am I missing it?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you have to put that up because that one is priceless. Her expression.
She was 5 years old there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think she really did want that present, don't you think?
Yes,
so?
I think so. No doubt about it. Oh my goodness. Yeah. But yeah, no, beautiful website, Rochelle. Thank you for helping out there. That's wonderful. And you can go to their social media, and everyone, they have a YouTube channel. So I think, let me see, did they put up the link here? I think I can grab the link right here, copy the link and subscribe to that, because that's really important too. And to get that vision up, there you go. But no, wonderful site, and it all comes from people working together. So that's just.
She worked on that for more than a month.
It is about togetherness. And I just wanted to say the comment, my footprints have drag marks along the way. That's all of us, because, we do have to get down on our knees and pray. And sometimes we do have to drag ourselves. But Rosemary, you're absolutely correct. It's about all of us being together. We really are one human. We're one race. And we do need to take care of each other. We really, really do. And of all the violence that's in this world, there's one thing that rings true and rises above, and that is love. Love is strong, and love is powerful. And it's called doing the next right thing. It's that simple. Love is simple. Love is care. Love is understanding. If you have care, then you will get understanding. And understanding begins with you, more than just the letter. And all of us together, gently, with clear, strong love, this is how we can move forward. We can move ahead away from this pain. All of us together. And thank you, Rosemary. God bless you. Carolyn, thank you so very, very much. I appreciate this opportunity so much.
Let us know about that ringtone, because we'll get that out.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for listening. You have patience. Great patience.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Bye. So,
okay. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, Ernie.
Good night, everybody.
So that was good. So yeah, I do believe, God puts the right people in your path to get things done. That, if you're looking, and it's like I said, it's such a sincere pleasure. I told everybody the other night, I said that I even met you, I know we haven't met face to face, but like this, I feel so honored to be in your presence, because you are such a remarkable woman. And yeah,
I'm a person just like you. I'm an ordinary person, and I just really am going for what the message is in my heart and in my mind. And the message was a message that was told to me in my head, 1993, that I had to get out there and change things. And I think part of why it happened on Holy Thursday and Easter, that there was a hopeful message. So it took 20 years for me to see what the hopeful message was. And it was to start the movement. But I didn't know I was starting a movement. All I knew is we had to keep the killer in prison. I didn't know anything about that I was going to go for a law. That was the last thing. I never even thought of that. But then I said, my God, if we continue this way, the next time this happens, that person is going to have to testify, go through so much. If somebody had done it for us, we wouldn't have had to do that. So somebody has to do something, and now is the time. Hey, Rosemarie, this is the message. You got to listen to it.
yeah, and with the more people that go to, come together, the
But
bigger.
I'm not like this person that this person like that's just down to earth, has a
An
vision.
ordinary person doing extraordinary things, right?
It just,
Yeah, but you did extraordinary.
I love connection. I love it when we can join together to change things, and we could all feel our power, and then all of it coming together. Oh my gosh, we do so much.
Absolutely.
So, hey, oh my gosh, I've known such joy in seeing that and experiencing it. Of course, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of perseverance. But the thing is that, each person has so much. And it's almost like they have to keep on telling themselves that, I know I could do this. I know I'm good with that. That's one of my talents. I know that even if I'm afraid, I'll still do it. And you just keep on telling yourself things like that. Then it's good if someone else tells you. That's very important, to encourage each other. You don't see a lot of that.
No, so I think, yeah, and I think that's a way to, like I said, you took your pain and turned it into something that's changing the lives of other children, keeping them safe and making positive changes in the legal system. So for other grieving parents, so that they don't have to go through what you did, and to go to the parole board and all of that. So yeah, I mean, when we get to see all these cases and it feels like, oh my gosh, yeah, well, why don't we take that pain and channel it through and do something good, so that if we all get together, it can make a difference. Some people think they can't make a difference. That's what it is. They think, on one person, I can't make a difference. Well, even one person can make a difference. But when people come together, you can make a difference. You just have to do it. You have to put one foot in front of the other and do something, just even if it's a little thing.
Maybe they never really sense that in themselves, that they have that. I don't know how you make yourself, how you make one sense it in themselves, that they have something that they could work with. I know, like what we're doing tonight and talking to a lot of people, hopefully it'll get to some people and they'll understand more about themselves and understand that they do have something special that they could share and they could serve other people with. Right. And in that respect, what happens is they will find out they will feel a certain joy. They will feel a certain joy, maybe that they never felt. And then that will help them. That'll be a good step for them
to develop even more sense of all the special things about them without being a bragger, but it just shows, you know, without like being like arrogant or show off about it.
Mhm.
But it just shows when you have it. You know?
Yeah, and the other thing, I just thought about something else, okay, which I can send you more information on. There's something, maybe John's heard of it, it's called Teespring. And you know how you said you ordered too many shirts? You don't have to order shirts or anything from the people. It costs you nothing. Like say you took Joan's butterfly and you put it on a mug or you
I have
put it on
so
something,
many- Yeah.
and someone goes and orders it, you don't have to do any of the packing, the shipping, nothing. They go to the site, they order, say a mug or a shirt, and it is sent to them, and you get the like a profit, and it's a good profit from each item, and that might be something too, because you could design whatever you wanted.
Let me call John. John, do you have it? T-shirts.
I will look into it.
Spring.
He'll look into it because everybody, I have so many small and medium T-shirts.
Yeah, and if anybody
I
wants a small or
with it.
medium T-shirt, let Rosemary know.
If you
Yeah.
want one, you know, let me know, and if you want to give a little donation, it would be appreciated.
Yeah, and see if we can get rid of those. But if you go on Teespring, and like I said, I can talk to yourself or John about it. It's really, it's very good because you could just design whatever you want, put it on. You don't pay anything. You don't have to order any inventory. And then somebody just goes, orders it to one, it goes out, and they send it right to you, your profit to the foundation.
John's going like this, thumbs up.
Okay. Yeah, if you have any, yeah, it's very easy to do. And yeah, I mean, you have the artwork and stuff to do. So good, good. All right. It was great to have you here, Rosemary, again, and I will get back to you with that online thrift shop kind of thing and find out. And if anybody else comes to me with ideas, which I'm sure they may, I will pass those along too. And we'll keep up to date with each other.
Wonderful.
And the prayer group, if anybody wants to go to the prayer group, John will give me the numbers and I'll put it in our message boards in case someone wants to go there. And Sunday at 4 o'clock it is. Is it 5 or 4? Did you?
4 o'clock, and I think we're going to do it outdoors in front of the grotto.
Okay. All right. Very good. So
That's the one time I go outdoors for the week.
well, that's good. It should be getting nice, hopefully. I don't know. We had some snow here this week, so it hasn't been fun.
So thank you, and good
Thanks
night,
for coming.
everyone.
Thank you, John, and thank you, Ernie, and thank you guys for watching and listening, and appreciate it. And I will get us out of here. And then for the Ramblers, I think we're going to open up something for crafts later on in a few minutes. But thank you again, Rosemary. Appreciate it.
Excellent. Beautiful.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Stay well, everybody, and God bless. Prayers to everyone that needs them. I'll see you
Good
next.
night.
Bye-bye. And I'll get us out of here. Bye-bye.
Bye, honey.
Bye.